Welcome back everyone. Today I have big news in regards to War of the Worlds. I know I released a video yesterday talking about a couple of new features to be added. Well, overnight Raf cheekily decided to upload 24 minutes of new gameplay to the game's official YouTube channel, which is pretty awesome because I was really hoping for some fresh new background footage to throw in videos, but also it means I can finally now show you some of the new features that I've known about and seen for a while, including things like the red weed. So let's jump in, shall we? Now, instead of picking out all of the new features and content in the gameplay video, I'm going to pick out the most major changes plus my favourite bits that I want to show, because otherwise this video will just be ridiculously long. So expect me to miss off a few things, but the best thing I can recommend is you go and watch this new update video for yourself, as it is really interesting and there's going to be quite a lot of new bits and pieces that I haven't mentioned just for the sake of time, which I might go over in a future video. Actually, let's face it, I probably will. But anyway, so starting off, I like that we can now see a bit of the menu screen, and also on the menu when you pick to play on story mode, you can now have different chapters and a brief description of what's happening in each stage. Now, I'm assuming that's if you want to play the story, but you want to start off at a specific stage in the invasion. But what I do like is the wording in these chapters. So, for example, Chapter 2, The War Begins, a machine crawls from the ground, torching and killing everything and everyone, and it's not from Europe. That's a great reference to the film. Next thing I want to talk about is that there is a new force field effect, and the reason why I like this is because at night time it is a lot brighter, so when you see military AI shooting at the pods, it's a lot more colourful and it lights up the sky a lot more. And I think also in a very subtle way it kind of highlights the superiority of these machines as well. And another quick bit I wanted to mention as well, now going on in the background as well, there's obviously like these new lightning storms and stuff going on, yes, which, you know, it's only a visual effect and I don't think you'll actually see more tripods crawling out of the ground, but it does signify more tripods emerging, which is fine for now, I suppose. But perhaps down the line we'll have more events where we can actually see actual lightning storms within the map and you can see tripods coming up out of the ground. That would be really cool if that was just, even if it was just like one or two more you see throughout the invasion, just like random events, a bit like the dynamic events that are already in the game. So hopefully we'll get to see that in the future. Next cool feature shown in the video is that you can now go and investigate the wreckage left over from battles. So as you can see, there's military vehicles all burnt out, and I'm guessing perhaps you can scavenge for any leftover weapons. And let's say you manage to find a weapon, you can now kill NPCs with said weapon and now loot them. So if you suspect someone might have some supplies you need, you can pop a cap in their ass. However, there is one major problem. If you fire a weapon, the tripods can hear it from way off. So you should only really shoot if you have to, because you'll very quickly have tripods bearing down on you. So at least make sure you've got some cover that you can get to really fast if you decide to start blasting. Next up, military vehicles will actively seek out and engage the tripods. So as you can see in the footage in the new gameplay, there's Humvees with mounted machine guns just tearing through towns to catch up with tripods that's slaughtering either civilians or military. I'm not too sure exactly, but either way it's a cool unscripted event, and you know, you could accidentally stumble into it just while you're looting, which is pretty cool. Following up from that, you can now see gameplay of infantry with rocket launchers that will start to automatically fire at tripods when they're in range, and so you can see like a whole squad just lighting one up in the distance. It's pretty cool to watch. Now, this is mentioned a bit later in the video, but it kind of goes without saying that these military versus tripod battles are all unscripted and fully dynamic, which was something that I made a mistake by saying it was scripted in my last video, as when I saw it on the dev's live stream, I assumed it was the Battle of the Hill scene. The dev did actually comment on my last video saying that it was in fact an unscripted event that I was watching on Discord, which is even better because you get to see these crazy mad battles just pop up randomly. Another thing on that as well, you can actually see in the footage there's a squad lighting up a tripod in the distance, and as time goes on you can actually see the tripod killing off the entire squad until you see no more gunfire and only the tripod remains. So, you know, that one tripod has just wiped out a squad with ease in very short time, but it's a very cool thing to watch, especially in the distance like that as well. Everything just kind of goes eerily quiet afterwards. Next new feature, which is really fun to see, is the tripods with tentacles will now be able to pick up vehicles and throw them around, as well as being able to stomp on them to destroy them. So watch out if you're in a car, because you can still get grabbed and thrown around. You'll also notice as well, flocks of birds will now follow and circle over new spawn tripods, which is kind of a cool thing. So you know, if you see birds flying over something, you know it is a new tripod that's spawned in. It's kind of just a visual warning, which is a nice little touch. Also, in the same clip, it might just be me, but it does look like the tripods are now starting to really speed up when they spot you, so you won't be able to outrun them, which is pretty scary as well. Also, once you get near to a tripod, you can now hear the sounds of screaming NPCs coming from cages, which I can now finally show you the gameplay of. special thanks to yours truly for getting that implemented. Now, I have no idea if that was me that caused that feature to be added, but I suggested it on the Discord and then shortly after it was in the game, so I'm claiming that. 1 point to me. Towards the end of the video, you see a new town that has been added with over 40 enterable houses which you can loot and hide inside, so that's going to be really nice if you suddenly need to dive into cover. You don't have to worry about, oh, has this house's interior been modelled in, or do I need to run down the street and look for another one that I could maybe go inside. I'm presuming that eventually every house on the map will be enterable, but having a town with that many enterable buildings is very nice. One more cool clip that shows that there will be abandoned cars that will now spawn across the map, as well as ones that can be repaired by scavenging certain parts. Now, I'm not sure what parts, but I'm guessing we'll see more of that in the future. Obviously, I knew about that already. I did mention that to Raph, but now he's actually sort of like officially saying that, and you can now see these cars spawning in on the map, which is very nice. But what's more cool to see in this same clip is actually you see the level crossing, the barriers come down, and you can now see the flaming train, which I know some of you asked about as well. So there's the footage. You're welcome. It does look pretty cool. Now this next clip is pretty chilling because we get to see a more updated clip of the probe checking out the buildings. Now, which does seem to be, you know, a lot smoother, and it looks like it's in a different style of house than the one we've seen probe gameplay in before, which shows that the dev is working on getting it so the probe can check lots more different buildings. And it's a really cool clip because it just shows how the game's tone can change so suddenly as you go from hearing lots of tripods walking around to just sudden silence where it's stopped right outside your building, and you just know what's happening next. You just know that a probe is about to come in from somewhere. That sounds really weird. Moving on to the best bit of the video for a lot of you, and so the tripod harvesting animation has been redone, which looks very nice, but more importantly, you can now see the red weed growing across the map, and it looks really, really good. So this is all procedural, so it won't grow in the same way every save, which is really good because, you know, replayability and all that, but just look at it. Oh, it's so good. You can now see, you know, obviously you can't see the red weed so much, you know, or the redness anyway, but I think that's due to the fact that it's night time in the clip. In fact, most of the clips in this new gameplay is at night, so hopefully in future we'll get to see a bit more daytime footage, but I won't lie, the atmosphere is a lot creepier at night. But damn, that red weed looks so good. It just stretches up buildings, it wraps around stuff, and it grows inside buildings, and I know this is something that you're all waiting for a very long time, so it feels really good that you can all see it now in the public eye. So that is pretty much all the bits I wanted to cover in this video, but it's not everything that was in the gameplay video, so be sure to check that out to see all the new changes and all the new features in the latest build. But it is really nice to see the game start to come together now. Also, if you head over to the game's YouTube channel and click on the community tab, you can now vote on what you want to see more of in the next development video, as I believe Raph wants to do a second video very soon showing off even more, so I can't wait to see that as well. There's also links below to the Steam store page and the Patreon as well as my own Discord. If you want to join that, you should want to join that, why not? Anyways, as always, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give me a like because it really helps me out a lot with the YouTube algorithm, and subscribe with notifications turned on so you never miss a new video. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.